KGT Fantasy League next Monday on NBC and Peacock.
Live, local, and trusted. KNOP News 2 at 10 starts now.
Coming up, what weather pattern are we expecting this winter? We discuss what the meteorologists from NOAA are saying. We remember the 1993 superstorm and Hurricane Katrina as we take a look at the storm systems that got members of our weather department into broadcast meteorology. And which weather pattern gives us the most snow, and how does our terrain shape the forecast? We answer those questions ahead. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Justin Fanfarelli and welcome to our first ever News 2 weather special. We'd like to thank you for having us in your homes every day as we tell you what you can expect weather-wise. And we know that weather is a way of life here in central and western Nebraska, so we thought we would give you an in-depth look at how our weather department works and explain some of the weather patterns you will see consistently in our daily forecasts. And here at News 2, we forecast for a massive land area with our signal reaching from just north of McCook to Valentine and from Lexington all the way to Laramie, Wyoming. And there is one major feature that affects our viewing area in every forecast. It's that there is a slope upward as you go from east to west in central Nebraska into southeastern Wyoming. And that slope, along with the wind direction, can be the difference between a major snowstorm or a sunny 60-degree winter day. Take a look.
Weather maps. Instead of looking at them from the top down, we'll look at the landmass of our viewing area from a side perspective. Here is the elevation map from Lexington, Nebraska to Cheyenne, Wyoming. It is a distance of 265 miles, and this graph shows the slope up as you travel from east to west across our coverage area. Lexington and North Platte are at elevations between 2,000 and 3,000 feet. Ogallala, Oshkosh, and Scottsbluff are at higher elevations between 3,000 and 4,000 feet. And there's a major slope up as you make your way out towards Cheyenne, which is about 6,100 feet. With this slope terrain, when we get a westerly wind, air simply can't just move from west to east. It will be forced from a higher elevation to a lower elevation or will descend. The opposite is true for an easterly wind, which will push air from a lower elevation to a higher elevation. And although it may not seem like it, ascending and descending air play a major role in our everyday weather forecasting in this climate. We spend a majority of the time with a westerly wind at the surface, causing descending air. Air molecules falling from a higher elevation to a lower elevation is a dry and warm process. So typically when we have a west wind, we have lots of sunshine and temperatures are well above average. This is the main reason we reach 50 to 60 degrees many times during the winter and why the snow that does fall doesn't stick around very long. But a change in the pattern can give us an easterly wind, which causes upslope rising air. When air molecules move up in the atmosphere, it's a cooling process that wrings out the moisture. So this is the pattern where we have a very cloudy and cold day and when several inches of snow can fall. Think back to February 2021 when we spent 3 weeks in this pattern. We could not get rid of an easterly wind, leading to an extremely cold air mass and several bouts of snow.
A stronger wind speed can magnify the effects of this pattern with a strong easterly wind in the winter, keeping us very cold and cloudy as several inches of snow piles up, while a strong westerly wind will give us complete sunshine and record high temperatures. And while keeping our eye on the wind direction on our weather maps, there is something else that you need to keep in mind if you are rooting for that big snowstorm. The jet stream. It's the path that the lows at the surface move along, and the position of the jet stream makes a big difference in precipitation for us. Here's more on that topic.
In previous weather segments, we actually took a look at our typical weather pattern as we go through the winter, where the jet stream basically does go right over us. Now, this actually produces a lot of snow into the Rocky Mountains, and then the snow develops again into the Midwest and moves into the Northeast. But we do have this little shadow in the Rockies that is over us, meaning that we only have around 25 inches of snow into central Nebraska, some areas into the Panhandle 35 to 40 inches of snow because low pressure systems typically go right over us. Now, the flow around these lows is mainly from a counterclockwise direction, so a low just off to our north gives us a westerly wind, which is mild and dry. Now, as we take a look at what changes in the jet stream will give us more moisture in the form of snow, when that jet stream goes off to the south and this low pressure system develops off to our south, it gives us more of an easterly wind, and the easterly flow is the opposite. It produces moisture and is a cool flow. So if you do have a strong high pressure system well off to our north and to our east, that's going to pump down a lot of cool air, and a low moving off to our south, which can tap into some moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. That moisture will actually be cool and will wring itself out over central and western Nebraska. So when you see this pattern on the weather map, a low pressure system to our south, and keep your eyes on the winds on our futurecast, when you see an easterly wind, that is the recipe for picking up a system that can give us a lot of snow.
So if you see on our weather maps that the jet stream is just off to our south and we're forecasting a strong easterly wind at the surface as a disturbance moves through, watch out. We could be in for a major snow event. Coming up next, meteorologist Andre Brooks will join us, and we'll talk about how our experiences with big storms as children got us into meteorology. Stay with us.
You're watching NBC Nebraska at 10. When you can't watch us live on air, catch our live newscast at knopnews2.com or download our KNOP News app.
Victims of mesothelioma and their families may be entitled to receive a cash award from the estimated $30 billion in asbestos trust funds now available. Over $50 billion has been awarded already. If you have been diagnosed with mesothelioma or lung cancer caused by asbestos, call the number on your screen now. We have served victims of mesothelioma and their families nationwide for over 30 years. We have successfully recovered hundreds of millions of dollars for thousands of our clients. Even if a family member has passed due to mesothelioma, you may still be entitled to a cash award. So call now for your free evaluation. We want to help victims of mesothelioma and lung cancer, and your families get the financial compensation you deserve from the estimated $30 billion in trust funds now available. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with mesothelioma, call 1-800-825-4635 now or visit us at mesofund.com.
As a family-owned home improvement store, Menards knows Christmas is all about tradition. No matter how your traditions may look, the spirit of the season stays the same. We thank you for making Menards a part of your year. Whether you strolled through the enchanted forest, picked up everyday items, or finished your biggest projects. From our family to yours, have a Merry Christmas and a safe and happy New Year.
Good morning, I'm Philip Mena.
I'm Francis Rivera.
Early today, weekday mornings before your local news.
Live stream all newscasts on the KNOP News 2 app.
2 flashes.
Some champ.
Well, I have brought on a special guest here, Andre Brooks. We're going to let you meet the members of our weather department. He is our morning meteorologist, and I'd like to say thank you for being a part of our weather special.
Well, I appreciate, the invite, Justin. This is a really good special here, and we are going to dive in onto some interesting topics. And for this segment, what we're doing?
Well, we're going to get into what was our biggest storm that we've experienced in our lives, or in that got us into broadcast meteorology. So I'd like to ask you about, first off, what was your biggest storm?
Well, my biggest storm would have to be before that weather bug really got me. It was Hurricane Katrina. That storm really caused a big impact to both Louisiana and Mississippi. And I was 8 years old, and that storm really changed my life forever. Now, mind you, I didn't have as much damage as other people would, but it was, a life-changing storm that I will always remember forever. And it was quite an intense storm, Category 4 hurricane making landfall to Louisiana coastline, and it was very deadly, and for me, as a person that has high functional autism, and with this being my first storm, it was crazy. But what sold me was 3 years later, Hurricane Gustav. I really, was very fascinated by the meteorologists in the field, tracking the hurricane as it was making landfall. And what also really fascinated me was the satellite and radar imagery of the storm as it was looping in the corner of the television screen. And I was like, whoa, this is really cool. And then, we were moving from Texas back to Louisiana, and 5 days later I plugged up my TV and turned it to the Weather Channel. I was like, this is interesting. I want to be like these people one day. And here I am.
Everybody has their origin story, I guess. I remember that Hurricane Katrina was hitting just as I was in my first week of my sophomore year of college, and I was really starting to get into the really hardcore weather classes. And,
right.
My professor was always warning that an event like that could occur the way that New Orleans was built. And unfortunately, it did happen that way, and especially with what happened in Mississippi, too. But, I know that you're from, the Gulf Coast, where they do deal with hurricanes. I'm from the Northeast, where we deal with, I'm not from the part of upstate New York that deals with lake effect snow, but those nor'easters that can come up the coast.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
And when you get one off the coast, it just runs up the coast. On the west side of these storms, that's the cool side. It picks up water from the Atlantic Ocean and then just deposits it as snow. It could be, it's hard to get over a foot of snow, where I was from, but every once in a while it does happen. If you remember the superstorm of 1993,
yeah,
it was, we got a couple of feet of snow, maybe 2.5 feet. I was only 8 years old at the time. I remember it was about half my height, or it was approaching half my height. We went into the backyard. And when I remember that, I was watching the Weather Channel in the late 90s. They're always doing, a documentary of that. So I remember that firsthand, but what really got me into it was the May 30th, 31st, 1998 severe weather event, major tornado outbreak. It actually started in eastern South Dakota as an F4 tornado, went all the way across the Midwest.
Whoa.
And by the time it got to upstate New York, it was peak heating around 4 or 5 p.m. the next day. The only time upstate New York was in a high risk of severe weather, it only happened once. And the major tornadoes missed us off to the north, southern Saratoga County, if you know the geography, right south of the racetrack there.
Right.
But a tornado did hit the Albany airport. It was the first time they went wall-to-wall coverage in Albany, New York for severe weather, and they kept using that as a model of severe weather coverage, and that's what got me into it.
Yeah, and what really sold me was, there was a winter storm that happened in Louisiana out of all places in 2008, and it gave me 6 to 10 inches of snow. It was one of those upper level lows that was tracking along the Sun Belt of the United States, and man, let me tell you, it was beautiful. It was wet snow, the best snow in my opinion. And, me and my brother had a really good time, playing in the snow, and it was just marvelous. And it was just a really cool early Christmas gift to us Louisianans, because this happened exactly 2 weeks before Christmas, December 11, 2008. And it was, what really sold me, so I really enjoy tracking winter weather and tropical weather, and of course severe weather too.
Okay, well, thanks for being with us for our weather special, and coming up next we're going to interview our weekend meteorologist Ian Mason. And coming up, we'll sit down with Ian. The subject, what is El Nino and how will it affect our forecast in the next few months? We'll be talking about the winter outlook next on the News 2 Weather Special.
This may look like a holiday shopping showdown, but it's a Nissan sales event ad.
Get up to $1,000 year-end bonus cash on popular models. Better hurry, these offers won't be back in stock.
Welcome to Toyotathon.
Hi, I want a new Toyota for a weekend getaway, recharge from the holidays.
Perfect. We've got new vehicles arriving daily.
Excuse me,
I have got a truckload of new Toyotas out front.
A truckload of new Toyotas?
Yes. Wait, come on, man. I want one.
Something I said?
Yes.
Toyota-thon is on. Right now, get 3.99% APR for up to 48 months on 5 of your favorite Toyota models. Learn more at your Toyota dealer or get your trade-in value today.
Toyota-thon ends January 2nd.
Toyota, let's go places.
Up reindeer paws, out jumps good old Santa Claus. Down through the chimney with lots of toys, all for the little ones' Christmas joys. Ho, ho, ho. Who wouldn't go? Ho, ho, ho. Who wouldn't go? Up on the housetop, click, click, click. Down through the chimney with good Saint Nick.
Pathology Services PC is in the people business. We just happen to be a clinical laboratory. Pathology Service has 2 convenient locations for you and your family to access high-quality, affordable lab tests now and throughout the new year. On the first floor of the North Platte Pavilion at 611 West Francis Street and in the Westfield Shopping Center in North Platte. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from Pathology Services PC.
This may look like a holiday shopping showdown, but it's a Nissan sales event ad.
Get 2.9% financing for 60 months on Pathfinder. Better hurry, these offers won't be back in stock.
Tonight's weather brought to you by Quick Stop with 27 locations, open 24 hours a day.
Yeah, welcome back to the weather special. I'm here with Ian Mason, who is our weekend anchor and meteorologist. How is everything going today, Ian?
I'm doing good, Justin. How about you?
I'm doing okay. Just celebrating the holidays. We had a great 6 o'clock news.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's been nice.
We get to talk about some weather. Now, we were in what was called a La Nina for the last 3 years. It usually cycles back and forth every 2 to 4 years, but we saw in the La Nina was more snow than average.
Lots of it.
Yep. More cold than average.
Lots of it, too.
And it looks like that could be changing. What were your thoughts on the last few years here?
I've personally enjoyed them, as I'm sure it's no secret between you and me and you and us. I very much like cooler temperatures. I like lots of snow. And so as we've seen that, I've been relatively at home. But El Nino is really going to change that. We're expecting El Nino to come this year. We've already kind of seen it pop up, which what El Nino is, that's going to be when we see the Pacific Ocean get a lot warmer. We see these warming and cooling ocean trends with El Nino. Basically what happened is South American and Central American people who fished would praise Jesus. They said, El Nino, the child, the man, the child, the boy, was helping them get increased counts of fish, because when there's warmer waters, of course, we see more fish. So basically what's happening is as we see this El Nino winter, this warmer waters basically controls the jet stream, brings one of them south and brings one of them north, and what that means for us is not as much variability. But when we see the southern jet stream come up into central western Nebraska, that typically will bring with it some moisture and some snow with it, Justin.
Yeah, and here's a look at our winter outlook right now. You can see the southern jet stream, the northern jet stream too. Now, if you notice, it's wet in California, it's wet in Texas, all the way down into the southeast, including into Florida. Now, as we take a look at what to expect for us, the precipitation's a little further south than you would expect. So this can cause snow or even one of those ice storms into portions of northern Texas into Oklahoma that would typically be over us. But we got under the influence of a milder air mass, the jet stream off to our north, giving us that westerly flow. That westerly flow really does keep us dry. So we think it's going to be milder with less snow. What are your thoughts on this winter outlook?
I think that you're exactly right. The one thing that I would think, though, is that we're not going to see below average snow. Mm-hmm. We're probably going to see right about average. I don't think we'd see above average. I think we're just going to be right at that center. Because what's going to happen is we saw a not snowstorm, but a snow system in late October. We saw one in late November, and then we had these dry spells in between. That is going to be typical of what we can expect with El Nino, because we have that jet stream move up, then we see a little bit of snow from it, and it goes back down. So our average, Justin, about 25 inches a year of snow. If we have about 5 months, 6 months with snow, each of them has a snow system that's about maybe not quite 5 inches. We get there pretty quickly.
Yep, and it is 25 inches a year. That's our average in North Platte. A lot more as you make your way off to the west. And we got into an El Nino pattern in like March. So, yeah, it's definitely interesting that we saw that snowstorm around Halloween.
Yeah.
Then 4 weeks of sunshine and
above average temperatures too, very abnormally warm.
60s and 70s too, and then we finally get something happening Thanksgiving the day after, and then it looks like another prolonged weather, dry weather spell into December. So that is basically what we're going to see this year. That jet stream is every once in a while going to move to the north, and when it does, we are going to get the snow. But then it's going to go right back off to our south. And I think when all is said and done, if it happens 5 times, we get 5 inches of snow each time, then there's our 25 inches. And that's how we stay average, even though you might look back at this winter and say, hey, it was sunny, it was 50 and 60 degrees all winter, but we only had a few snowstorms, so that's enough to get to average.
Exactly. North Platte is not a place that will get a lot of snow. And to kind of look at an even broader picture, neither is Texas, but yet they have, with these El Ninos, they have this large chance of snowfall, large for down there, remember. So I would not be surprised if we saw headlines again this year about, hey, Texas is going to have these massive power outages. Texas is abnormally cool. They're having lots of moisture, and that's something that we as meteorologists get concerned about.
And in Texas, if you know people from there, they're known for their ice storms, and unfortunately, I know people from Oklahoma City.
Exactly,
too.
yeah.
This might be one of those years where, they get the moisture, and it's just far enough north, so it will give them some ice storms. So it looks like when all is said and done, we're going to have, hopefully a pretty nice winter. If you like sunshine, I'm looking forward to the warmer air. And
you and me are polar opposites. I'm looking forward to the few days where we'll see some extreme snow. Those 5-inch systems, that's not a lot of snow for me, but I'll take it.
I'm definitely no more February 2021s, no more 19 inches of snow in one day.
No more of that. No more negative 20 degrees is our high either, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
that's not what you want.
That's what I'm hoping for too. So thanks for joining us here today, and we will have more weather information coming up after the break. And coming up next, a closer look at our weather terminology and how we communicate whether it will be cloudy or sunny and what the percentage of precipitation means to non-scientists. Stay with us.
Attention! If you or a loved one are over the age of 65 and were diagnosed with lung cancer or mesothelioma, listen carefully to this important legal announcement. Workers in labor occupations were unknowingly exposed to asbestos in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s. Affected occupations include carpenters, electricians, roofers, mechanics, machinists, pipe fitters, railroad workers, and more. Even if you were a smoker, your lung cancer may have been caused by asbestos exposure on the job. Over $30 billion in court-ordered trust fund money has been set aside to pay lung cancer patients and their families. Call the Asbestos Claims Network today to see if you qualify. Best of all, you may be able to claim your trust fund money quickly and without going to court. Call the Asbestos Claim Network today to find out how much you're entitled to and how long it will take to file your claim. The call is free and the initial consultation is free. Call 1-800-600-6088. That's 1-800-600-6088.
Over 13 million Americans were affected by identity theft in 2022. And the threats go way beyond just credit card fraud. Today's identity thieves can open loans, transfer home titles, and even commit crimes in your name.
Someone got my social security number, made a driver's license, and was used for criminal activity.
Your information is exposed through online shopping, banking, even corporate data breaches. No wonder there's a new victim of identity theft every 3 seconds. Only LifeLock alerts you to the widest volume of threats all in one place.
I clicked, "That's not me," and LifeLock took it from there.
If you become a victim, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix the issue. All LifeLock members are backed by the LifeLock $1 Million Protection Package, including reimbursement for stolen funds.
I will be with LifeLock forever.
Enrollment takes just minutes. Call now or go online and use promo code GET25 to save 25% on your first year. Enroll now.
The biggest comedy stars,
Love isn't something you find, it's something that
you pay for.
Wall-to-wall laughs. Star Trek fans prefer to be called what?
By anyone.
America's comedy game show. Funny You Should Ask. Weekdays on News 2.
Being in broadcast meteorology, we have a job that has one foot in the realm of science and another in the realm of communications. And as some of our stations enter their 7th and 8th decades of broadcasting, how we tell the weather story has really evolved over time. Here's a primer on the weather terminology we use every day. In every weathercast, you will see a typical extended forecast, and each of these symbols mean a different thing scientifically pertaining to forecasting the weather. But you might wonder which symbols mean mostly sunny to partly cloudy, and what do those terms even mean? What does a good chance or chance of snow mean, and what officially is breezy or windy, and how strong are those winds? Well, here's a primer on how our graphics pertain to weather terminology. We're going to start off with sky cover. When we say sunny skies or clear skies at night, you're going to see a sun icon, no clouds. That means 0 to 20% sky cover is forecasted for the day. We'll say mostly sunny when there's a 20 to 40% chance of sky cover, and when we get to partly cloudy, that's 40 to 60% sky cover, and the icon is half sun, half cloud. Increasing the clouds even further, 60 to 80% sky cover means mostly cloudy, and we'll just put a cloud icon when we think we're going to say cloudy skies, and that is 80 to 100% sky cover. Now, combine that with precipitation chances. When we have a 0 or 10% chance of precipitation, we just won't mention anything, but when we get to a 20% chance, we'll just say there's a slight chance of some rain or snow, and a chance means there is a 30 to 40% chance of some rain or snow showers. Now, a good chance is around 50%, and when there's a 60 to 70% chance of some rain or snow, we'll just say that rain or snow is likely. Now, when there's an 80 to 100% chance, we're just going to say it will rain or snow on a particular day. Now, as for breezy versus windy, this is our breezy icon. It looks like a swirl. Winds are 15 to 25 miles per hour with gusts to 30 miles per hour, and we say breezy on an extended forecast. And it'll be windy with a lighter swirl on our 7-day forecast when we think that winds are going to be sustained at 25 or more miles per hour with some gusts over 40 miles per hour. So there is the weather terminology to look out for when you are watching our future forecast. Something to remember is that as broadcasters, we have to give priority to the portion of our viewing area that has the highest population. For example, if 50% of our coverage area is in a winter storm warning, but it only encompasses 10% of the populations, we will not issue weather alert days or spend a majority of time on it. Straight ahead, we answer your questions. Tristan Winder will be here presenting me with what you, the viewers, want to know about central and western Nebraska weather. That segment is next on the KNOP News 2 Weather Special.
Over 13 million Americans were affected by identity theft in 2022. And the threats go way beyond just credit card fraud. Today's identity thieves can open loans, transfer home titles, and even commit crimes in your name.
Someone got my social security number, made a driver's license, and was used for criminal activity.
Your information is exposed through online shopping, banking, even corporate data breaches. No wonder there's a new victim of identity theft every 3 seconds. Only LifeLock alerts you to the widest volume of threats all in one place.
I clicked, "That's not me," and LifeLock took it from there.
If you become a victim, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix the issue. All LifeLock members are backed by the LifeLock $1 Million Protection Package, including reimbursement for stolen funds.
I will be with LifeLock forever.
Enrollment takes just minutes. Call now or go online and use promo code GET25 to save 25% on your first year. Enroll now.
People with disabilities, including those with autism, are employed. Why? Outdated stigmas and beliefs. So, let us make it easy. This is a job for someone with autism. So is this. That job, also perfect. Introducing WIN by Autism Speaks. We help businesses lead the way in inclusive hiring. Yes, these are all jobs for someone with autism. To learn more, go to autismspeaks.org/win.
And one of the best ways to keep up with the News 2 Weather Department is to download our weather app. We have an hourly and 10-day forecast along with interactive radar. New technology also allows us to geo-target weather alerts to your specific area. So if something bad is coming your way, you will get that information right away while not getting weather information that is a 2-hour drive away from you. The News 2 Weather app is available on all major platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen. And we would like to welcome in Tristan Winder here, who has some questions for me sent in by the viewers.
Yeah, thank you so much, Justin, for allowing me the opportunity to be with you and for our viewers to get some questions answered too. We'll dive right into it. But our viewers want to know, what is the hardest thing for a meteorologist to forecast?
Well, I think the hardest thing, it has evolved over time, but the hardest thing that we have to focus on forecasting is snowfall accumulation. And you notice that's the thing we get wrong most often, and especially with this climate, it's extra hard to go by snowfall accumulation. We saw earlier on in this show that it's because of our terrain that does make it difficult. Now, a computer model can know that an easterly wind will produce snow, but it doesn't know when the bands will form, how heavy they will be, or if they will form at all. Sometimes it misses it by like 50 miles or so. So that's one thing that we're really starting to focus on. It really has evolved over the last 10 years, but still, anywhere across the country, it's hard to know how much snow is going to fall. A radar does make a good estimate as to where the snow showers will develop, but it really can't be perfect there.
Of course, with that too is the weather alert system that we have. When would some of those alerts be issued? And can you tell us more about our new weather alert system here at KNOP?
Okay, we are going into, we're basically going to color code every day. A green is a normal day, then we're going to have yellow, and we're going to have red. So after we get past green, if the weather gets worse out there, say we get a couple of inches of snow, or maybe we get into a marginal or slight risk of severe weather, we will go into a storm watch mode, and you'll see storm watch on our graphics. And that's just basically the yellow shading, the caution, if you will. And then we still have our weather alert days. That's the highest shading that we're going to have, and that means that life or property definitely is going to be disrupted by whether it be maybe a severe storm outbreak, including tornadoes, or in the winter, a winter storm. So it's either going to be, you're going to see green, yellow, or red, and you're going to know whether it's just going to affect you a little, or if it's going to be a major disruption to your day.
And that provides the perfect segue to when will you and our team of meteorologists cut in for weather updates?
Well, usually we take a look at the population. Like for severe thunderstorms, I think like if it's hitting an area over 10,000 population, we'll cut in. If not, we will use the crawl. It does stay up all the time. It also depends on the severity of the severe weather event. So if we have a storm that has like hen egg-sized hail and 80-mile-per-hour winds, we will definitely be cutting in for that one for lower populations. But if you just have like a regular severe thunderstorm, 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-sized hail, which is inch hail, we might just let that one crawl. And also, for tornado warnings, if it's near a city, we most likely will cut in if it has a large population. If it's, we would cut in and stay on for quite some time.
Sure. And one of the questions that I had for you during this weather special too, Justin, is why is it that the sandhills of Nebraska, even Stapleton in our viewing area, so close to North Platte, sometimes gets more of the weather extremes than what those in Lincoln County and in the North Platte zone will?
Well, the I-80 corridor basically is kind of flat, but when you get north of it, especially into the sandhills, then the slope gets higher. So, if you have a storm going up that way, it will force more air up against the mountains, which can strengthen a thunderstorm or give us more snow. So basically, wind is going down into our valley, but when we're in the sandhills, that is when we are going to have more snow or more severe weather.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you today, and we appreciate our viewers as well for bringing these questions to us.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Hopefully we have another great year of weather forecasting here at News 2, and I would definitely like to thank everybody else for joining us here today, making us a part of your holiday. We'll definitely be here tomorrow with more news, and we'd like to thank you once again for watching our weather forecast every day.
Your local news and weather doesn't stop now. Local stories and updated forecast, streaming and on demand in the KNOP News 2 app. Sponsored by